Nkechi and Chuka have been inseparable since university, the love growing stronger with time. Chuka, a hard-working school teacher, may not have words, but he has a heart full of love and dreams of a simple but happy life with Nkechi. One evening, as he sat in a quiet garden in Enugu, Chuka looked at Nkechi and says, "I think it's time I officially ask for your hand in marriage. I want to spend the rest of my life with you." Nkechi, her eyes filled with love, laughed. "I have been waiting for this moment, Chuka. But you know, my father, he believes money is everything." Chuka smiles confidently. "I will prove my worth, not with riches though, but with love and hard work." Nkechi looked at him and said, "I see potential in you, and I know you will do well." Chuka looked at her and said, "Thanks for believing in me, my love." With love, as they say, we soon learn, it's never enough when tradition and expectations are involved. The following weekend, Chuka visits Nkechi's home with his uncle, a few elders from his family. They are warmly welcomed. Everything seems promising until Chief Okonkwo, Nkechi's father, clears his throat and addresses Chuka. "Young man, do you know the value of the woman you want to marry?" the chief asks. Chuka with confidence responds, "She is priceless, sir." "Alright then," says Chief Okonkwo as he hands over a long list to Chuka's uncle. It includes bags of rice, tubers of yam, bunch of plantains, kegs of palm oil, and an additional demand for 5 million naira. Chuka's uncle's gasps. "This is too much. How can an ordinary teacher afford this?" Chief Okonkwo smirks. "Then he is not worthy of my daughter. Only a worthy man can give her the life she deserves." Chuka's heart sinks as he looks at Nkechi, whose facial expression is filled with sadness. Determined not to lose Nkechi, Chuka works tirelessly. He takes on private tutoring, drives a taxi sometimes, and even considers borrowing money from a loan shark. Nkechi, on the other hand, pleads with her mother to talk to her father, but the chief remains adamant. One sunny afternoon, Chuka was on his way to his lessons, his mind preoccupied with thoughts about his future, when he unexpectedly ran into his best friend, Emeka. It had been a while since they last saw each other, and the joy of the reunion was evident on both their faces. "Guy, how far? How you dey?" Emeka asked, grinning as he gave Chuka a friendly handshake. "I dey alright, my guy. You unko?" Chuka replied with a smile. They stood at the roadside, catching up like old times, when Emeka's curiosity shifted to more personal matters. "So, what's the latest on your marriage plans with Nkechi?" Emeka asked, leaning in slightly. Chuka's smile faded a little as he responded, My brother, it's somehow, things just dey one kind." Emeka raised eyebrow. "Really? I thought you guys already did the introduction. I was even expecting to hear that wedding plans were in motion." Chuka sighed deeply. "You no go believe, her father dropped one heavy bride price list. It's like the man they find Dangote to marry his daughter. And to be fair, I understand he wants the best for her, but the approach, as if love no even matter at all." Emeka let out a low whistle. "Shy. Now wow, these big men, they are wahala. So what's the plan now?" "I dey reason am," Chuka replied. "If we talk to one or two people. Do you remember my uncle Solomon?" "Of course," Emeka said quickly. "The rich uncle you always talked about. If he help you now, does he even know you've done the introduction?" Chuka nodded. "Yeah, he knows. He was out of the country at the time, so he couldn't attend." "Then go meet him," Emeka advised. "Explain your situation. You never know. If he decides to show up for you big time." "You're right," Chuka said, already making a mental note. "I go try see him soon." "Good. I do wish you the best, bro, Emeka said, clapping him on the back. Thanks, guy. You too. Take care, Chuka replied. With that, the two friends went their separate ways, each carrying the warmth of their conversation into the rest of the day. A few days later, after his conversation with Emeka, Chuka found the courage to visit his uncle Solomon. The man was a well-known figure in the family, worthy, influential, and deeply respected. Though their relationship was cordial, Chuka had never asked him for anything. This visit was different. It carried the weight of hope, desperation, and pride all tangled into one. Uncle Solomon lived in a spacious, quiet compound on the outskirts of town. The house, though not flashy, spoke volumes, elegance, and wisdom wrapped into the walls. As Chuka stepped through the beautiful gates, he felt like a boy again, unsure of himself but determined to speak his truth. They sat under the shade of a tree in the backyard, the air thick with the scent of earth and ripening fruit. After a few minutes of pleasantries, Chuka cleared his throat and got to the point. Uncle, I came to talk to you about something important, he began, his voice steady but low. It's about Nkechi and the bride price. Her father dropped a list that's far beyond what I can afford right now. I've done the introduction and I love her. I really do. But I need help. I was hoping maybe you could assist me financially or even lend me something I can pay back gradually. Uncle Solomon listened without interruption, his eyes calm but unreadable. When Chuka finished, there was a brief silence. Then the old man leaned back in his chair and laughed, not mockingly, but the kind of laugh that comes from deep experience. Ah, Chuka, he said, shaking his head gently, you remind me of myself when I was your age. Chuka tried to smile, but uncertainty sat heavily on his shoulders. Then Uncle Solomon's tune shifted, still warm but serious. A man must build his own home, he said, his voice low and deliberate, not borrow another man's riches to do it. Chuka swallowed hard, unsure how to respond. It's not that I can't help you, my boy, Solomon continued, but if I give you everything now, if I solve this problem for you, what will you do when the next one comes? Or the one after that? Marriage is not just about paying a bride price. It's about standing as a man. It's about learning to carry your own weight. If you truly want to marry Nkechi, then this challenge is your first test. The words hit Chuka like cold water, not because they were harsh, but because they were true. I understand, sir, he finally said, his voice quiet. Solomon smiled and reached out, placing a firm hand on his shoulder. That doesn't mean I won't support you. Come back when you have a plan, something concrete. Show me that you are not just seeking help, but taking responsibility. Then we'll talk, not as uncle and nephew, but as two men building something that lasts. Chuka nodded slowly. Though he had not left with money in his pocket, he walked away with something far more valuable: direction, perspective, and a deeper understanding of what it meant to truly become a man. That evening, Chuka sat quietly across from Nkechi and her elder brother, Jude, in the sitting room of Jude's mother's home. The atmosphere was tense, yet calm, a fragile balance between hope and frustration. Nkechi stood beside her brother, eyes darting occasionally to Chuka, searching for clarity. Chuka exhaled slowly before speaking. I went to see my uncle Solomon, he began, his voice measured, steady despite the weight of disappointment beneath it. I told him everything about the bride price list, about how much I love Nkechi, about needing some help. He looked up at both of them, eyes sincere. He didn't give me money, Chuka admitted, but he gave me something else, encouragement. He said a man must build his own home, not borrow another man's riches to do it. He wants to see me take responsibility first, come back with a plan. He's not closing the door, but he's not handing me a shortcut either. There was a silence that followed deep, heavy. Nkechi's face softened. Her eyes glowed with unspoken emotion. Jude leaned back in his chair, his jaw tight with frustration. This whole thing don't pass traditional, Jude muttered, rubbing his forehead. I don't even understand what Papa is trying to prove anymore. That he can auction off his daughter to the highest bidder. Bro, Nkechi said softly, but he waved her off. No, let me talk. This is madness. Jude turned to her now, his eyes blazing not with anger, but with fierce protectiveness. You love this guy. He's here. He's trying. He didn't run. So what else do you want? What does Papa want? Money? Prestige? When all that's left, you'll be the one married to a stranger, not him. Chuka sat frozen, unsure what to say. Unsure if he was being pulled closer or pushed away from the family. Then Jude said something that hung in the air like a sudden chill. You can live with him. Tonight, if you want, I'll cover for you. Nkechi's eyes widened. What? You heard me, Jude said. Elopement. You two disappear for a while. Get married quietly. Start your life. This house, these rules, they don't mean anything if you are miserable. Nkechi turned to Chuka. The suggestion hit her like thunder, both shocking and strangely tempting. She reached out and held Chuka's hand, searching his face for an answer, but instead she spoke what weighed most heavily on her heart. If I leave, will I ever be accepted back? It was a question loaded with fear. Fear of being disowned, of losing her mother's sweet affection, her younger siblings' respect, her place in a family that raised her, tradition deep in her blood, and love, though powerful, wasn't always enough to silence the call of belonging. Chuka looked at her, then at Jude. I don't want to take you away from your family, Nkechi, he said gently. I want to marry you with blessings, not with rebellion, but I also won't stop fighting for you. Nkechi blinked back. Jude sat quietly now, watching his sister wrestle with the impossible choice between love and legacy. And in that room filled with silence, what none of them said out loud echoed the loudest. Sometimes the hardest battles are not against people, but against the weight of expectations we carry from birth. As Chuka struggles, a new challenge arises. Nkechi's childhood friend, Obina, returns from abroad, a successful businessman. Obina has always admired Nkechi. When he learns of her father's high bride price, he approaches Chief Okonkwo with an offer. Sir, I can afford everything on this list and more, he says confidently. Nkechi deserved a comfort and I can give her that. Nkechi is devastated when she hears about Obina's proposal. She confronts her father, but he simply says, my daughter, love is sweet, but money makes it sweeter. That night, Nkechi met Chuka, torn between love and family. What do we do? She asked, tears streaming down her face. Chuka takes her hands. Do you love me? She nods. Then trust me. Determined to take control of their destiny, Nkechi and Chuka decide to take a leap of faith. They elope and have a small traditional ceremony in Chuka's village with the support of his family. Nkechi's mother secretly attends, blessing them with prayers and gifts. When Chief Okonkwo heard about the elopement, he was furious. No daughter of mine will disobey me, he roars. Weeks turn into months and Nkechi and Chuka face struggles. Money is tight and their love remained strong. Nkechi, an aspiring fashion designer, started her own small business while Chuka continues his teaching. Meanwhile, Chuka, who is fluent in Spanish and French, started giving free language lessons to students in their neighborhood. Over time, his reputation spread and parents began to pay for his services. One day, a wealthy businessman whose son Chuka once taught visited him and says, "You have a gift, young man. I have connections in Abuja. Come to the city and let me help you find better opportunities." Chuka, though hesitant at first, decides to take the risk. In Abuja, Chuka met influential people and through his language skills, lands a job at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Nigeria. His fluency in Spanish and French impresses his superiors, and within months, he is offered a prestigious posting to France as an embassy staff member in Paris. The once ordinary school teacher is now traveling the world, earning in foreign currency and living a comfortable life. Nkechi, by his side, also expands her fashion business internationally, catering to African communities abroad. Back home, news of Chuka's success reaches Chief Okonkwo. The once proud father, now humbled, realizes he had underestimated his daughter's choice. He felt really bad and requested to see them. When Nkechi and Chuka returned to visit, he finally acknowledged his mistake. "I was wrong," the chief admits, his voice weak but sincere. "Money is important, but a man who truly loves my daughter is the richest of all." With forgiveness and reconciliation, the family reunites. Nkechi and Chuka's story becomes an inspiration in the community, a lesson that love, respect, and hard work are more valuable than money alone.